For so long, really wanted to be the casual sex girl. I mean, I thrive in either aspect, but it was a big deal. A decade of doing social media. My parents, because they were like, what the hell are you doing? But you know, girls gotta get some. So I was like, hot take, it does not matter. I've dated younger, I've dated older, and I really think you're fully allowed to change your mind. The best way I could describe it is...
Welcome back to another episode of First Rounds of Me, a First Rounds of Media production. Our guest today has more than 1 million people watching across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. She's a creator, a coach, and host of Gin and Toxic, Christina Harris.
Oh my God.
I know, we're getting into the pressure of being on, being seen versus being known, therapy talk we're retiring, why friendship is the new romance, and why confidence is less about the mirror and more about the muscle. Christina Harris, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, what an introduction. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I wish we could have recorded the last 20 minutes of us sitting down and having a chat because I feel like it was so easy and so free-flowing. But we're going to recap it all to begin with. I always like to start the podcast with some kind of like an icebreaker question, but I'm going to get a little bit more depthful, a little bit more meaningful with you considering what you do and who you are. So if you could make everyone you meet answer one question truthfully, what would it be?
Oh my God. Wow. We're starting heavy. Oh, if I can make them answer one question truthfully.
Truthfully. They have to answer it truthfully.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I don't know. Because like, I don't know why, but the immediate thing that comes to my mind, and maybe this is just like my coaching, is just like, how are you? But like, you know,
how are
but
you?
like, how are you? Like, truthfully, like, you know, but I feel like that's not even like, that,
I
like,
suppose
you know.
it's a good one because truthfully, like whenever we go, how are you? People are like, oh yeah, good.
I think it's a great question. So how are you?
Me personally?
Like truthfully.
Truthfully, how am I? I'm doing like good. Like some aspects great, other aspects just good. It kind of like depends. I'm at actually kind of like a weird phase of my life, I feel like right now, where I'm very content, like career-wise, like super amazing and great friendship-wise. Love department could be better, you know?
You love your apartment, but it could be better.
What?
Love department.
Love department.
Like,
No, sorry.
Oh, I think you said
in the love department.
Your apartment could be better. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, my apartment could be
Love
better. No,
department could be
I
better.
love my apartment. No, the love department could be better, but I feel like, you know what? I feel like I'm doing actually very good for the amount of growth and healing I've done over the last few months. I kind of went through like a little bit of like a period, you know, as everybody does. You go in roller coaster up and down, but I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, I feel like that's like what I would probably say and make people answer like really truthfully. You know, I feel like.
I love that.
I think it's great. Yeah,
Because it is a question that people very rarely often truthfully.
Yeah, I know.
Also, when someone responds to that, it's gonna break all their walls down, and you get to know the real them because it's like
Have to be vulnerable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love
No,
that.
absolutely.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to get to so many different facets of you, but I really, when I was researching you, and we told you this to begin, I research so much. Joe does absolutely no research whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's a good and bad
I'm
thing.
so fascinated by a lot of different areas of your life, and I think that you were just telling us that you've been a content creator since you were 12, which blows my mind on so many different ways. But then also your life has evolved in the fact that content creation is not your only avenue, and you are a life coach that specializes in dating relationships.
Yeah.
But also like procrastination, perfectionism, all these types of things. So I want to dive into the life coaching thing first because I find that so interesting.
Yeah, totally.
How did you get into that area of wanting to help people?
Okay, so it actually starts with my social media career only because, like, you know, we'll do a little back and forth. However, so I've done social media, as I was telling you guys, since I was like 12 years old, so my whole life, or at least my whole childhood. So, you know, naturally, after like a decade of doing social media, I started getting just like really burnt out by it. It just like, it didn't feel as fulfilling as it once did. And back in 2020, I mean, I know everybody was going through it, obviously, with like the pandemic and everything. I was like really going through it. I had gotten out of like this absolutely insane 4-year-long relationship that like literally changed the trajectory of my life. Wow. Like it's like it was a big deal. And you know, and in the middle of that, like I was like stranded like in LA trying to navigate this, and then had to like fly back to New York, and I was miserable. And I basically like spent my pandemic going through this like insane identity crisis of like, I literally don't know who I am without this person in my life, which was like saying that out loud sounds like kind of insane, because like if I was saying that to myself now, I'd be like, girl, we got to get it together. But like, you know, I was like young and impressionable, and you know, and so at that time I was going through so much, and I ended up looking into both therapy and into life coaching to like hire for myself, because I really wanted to do a lot of self-work. And I ended up going the life coaching route, and I found my life coach. And just over the course of, we've been working together for 5 years now, going on 6, I just learned so much about myself and how I handle situations and how to handle them properly. And, you know, just became this like really incredible version of myself. And then, you know, when I started to really hit a wall with my social media career, it was around like 2022, 2023. And it just started, like I said, to feel really unfulfilling for me. I have been doing it for so long. And as you know, I'll never take my social media career for granted, but I just like felt like it wasn't like soulfully fulfilling me anymore.
You want something more.
Yeah, I wanted something more for myself, and I wanted to feel like I was actually like helping improve other people's lives. And I'm like, I'm happy that I'm able to provide like entertainment and laughs, but I really wanted something deeper than that. And it took a while. I went through like a little bit of like a quarter life crisis, if you will, of like trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my career and like what I wanted to do with myself. And then I think it was like the moment that I stopped putting so much pressure on it, it kind of just came to me, and I was like, you know what? Like, I think I want to go back to school for my coaching certification. And I first talked to my friends about it, and then I talked to my family about it, and then I talked to my coach about it, and everybody, and my friends and my family are very brutally honest with me. So if it was like a horrible idea, they would have told me. But they all immediately were like, oh my God, like, why didn't you do this like sooner? Like, you know, my parents were like, you should have gone to school for psychology all along. Like, you know, like everyone's like, this makes so much sense. So yeah, and then in 2023, that's exactly what I did. I went back to school. I got my coaching certification, and then I started up my business. I fully announced my business in April of 2024. So it's only been like a year and a half, but yeah, that's kind of how I got to where I am. And during that time also, when I was going through schools, when I started figuring out what I wanted to kind of like niche down on. And I always had an idea that I was going to be dating in relationships, only because that's like a lot of focus. That's a lot of what me and my coach put focus on, and that was where I grew like the most and helped everybody out the most with. So when we were like niching down, it started with me being like, I'm gonna do dating and relationships. This is what I excel at. And then the other things like the perfectionism and the procrastination and the anxiety coaching and all that stuff ended up just being something that just as I was going through my coaching career, I realized that I was doing a lot of coaching on those things, and I also really excelled at those. And then, you know, kind of just got to where I am. So yeah, I know it's such a long-winded explanation, but
I loved it. But I also love the fact that, and like we talk about this, Joe and I talk about this all the time. It's like things are born of necessity, right? Of your own necessity. And so the fact that you went through this life coaching experience for you to be able to help heal you, and then you were like, wait a second, I love this, and I would love to be on the flip side of it.
Yeah.
I think is so beautiful, and obviously like adds to your ability to be able to help coach people through that. What's the difference between a therapist and a life coach?
I get this question all the time. So, okay. The best way I could describe it is, first of all, obviously, like, you know, I never like prescribe people. I do not diagnose people. Like, you know, I don't do like, you know, deep-rooted trauma work or anything of that sort. The way that I describe it that makes sense for most people, that's like easily digestible, is that a lot of therapy focuses on the past and the present, and life coaching focuses on the present and the future. So with therapy, you might, like go into your past, work through like past traumas, or just, you know, things that kind of made you to who you are today, and, you know, work on those things that you want to improve on. But then, you know, so you could live like comfortably now. And then where I come in is like, maybe you already did that work, or you don't have a lot of it to do, or whatever the case is. And it's more about what are the hurdles and the blocks that you have going on in your life right now, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. How do we get over those? And then how do I set you up with tools and tricks to move forward in your future, and what's next for you? And like, how could we make sure you're like goal setting and achieving those goals?
What percentage of people need a life coach versus people who are like proactively, I just want more out of life? So say someone comes to you and is like, there's nothing really wrong with my life, but I just want more. And like, I want to maximize who I am. Does that happen at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I have many clients, like I've had clients come to me that are feeling like they're pretty much like rock bottom in a way, and like really want to improve on a lot of areas. And then I have clients that come to me and they're like, I feel really good where I'm at, but I just want somebody maybe to like hold me accountable a little bit more to moving forward. Or like, I want, to feel like a zest for life again in my career, and I want to do something else. Like, can you help me with that? So it really depends. And like, I mean, for the people that like, need life coaches, I'm a very big believer in that. Like, everybody should have a coach, a therapist, or something, a mentor, something of the sort, like somebody else to talk to and, to like be their accountability buddy through things. So it really depends. Like, I have a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, yeah, like I'm doing like pretty good, like emotionally and mentally, but like, I just want to make sure I'm doing like the most. And I'm like, okay, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is there like a common theme throughout the people that you do coach, whether they're coming to you for something large or small, that you find that is like a through line for a lot of people?
Oh my
things
God.
that they struggle with.
Communication. Like
with other people,
down.
or
Or with
just
themselves.
Yeah.
A little bit of both, because it's very much like a domino effect of like, a lot of people feel like they can't effectively communicate because they, for example, like my anxiously attached girlies that I absolutely love, they have a hard time communicating because they feel like if they say what they want to say or they express their feelings that, people are going to, look down on them or leave them. And then they get afraid, of people leaving them. And then that goes back to, who they feel they are like as a person. Like, they feel disposable? Why do they feel disposable? All those sorts of things. But yeah, I mean, the communication thing is just a really big thing. I make like, kind of jokes to my friends sometimes where I'm like, half of my sessions are me saying, and did you communicate that? Because, a lot of people, it's like, a lot of my clients love to believe, and a lot of people are very guilty of this, believing that their partners or the people that they need to talk to are mind readers. And so I had a client just the other day that she said out loud to me, she was like, yeah, like I didn't want to tell him like how I was feeling, but like I really wanted him to fix it. And I like gave her like a little tea, and I was like, did you just hear what you said? Like, you were like
how
yeah.
the oxymoron.
Well, I can tell you that
Yeah.
in marriage, it's the same exact thing. And it's just more important too, right?
Of course.
Because you already have your life with somebody. But yeah, like we always talk about, like communication is just so important. You sent me something the other day that was so profound, actually, about like what a woman goes through. what a woman goes through, like once they have a baby.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like what a man thinks but won't say. Because we don't like, it's hard to talk about a woman's body. Like you can never do that impromptu.
Of course.
So she sent it to me on Instagram, and I was like, man, this is awesome that you're like putting it out there, because it's a dialogue of communication instead of like sitting me down and being like, hey, if you want to talk about my body, let's talk about my body. It's like, that's kind of weird.
But also, like, I think what you just brought up was such a fantastic point. It kind of leads into what you were saying, right? Like, communication comes in so many different forms. And for those where it's really difficult just to, like, communicate out loud, to, like, say the words verbatim, exactly how you want them to come out, there are so many other facets of communication that are available to us. Like Joe and I, we said a podcast recently where we talk about, we do this all the time. We send memes back and forth to each other. We send reels back and forth to each other, because sometimes that's the best way that we can communicate without directly having to say it. And then one of us will watch it, and then it will open up a larger conversation. It's almost like the icebreaker of it, which I think is so beautiful. But in the same way, it's like, in that same way of communication, it's like, that's why content and content creation, all these kind of things, we were just talking before the podcast went live, of like the double-edged sword of that, right?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear all of this stuff about your life coaching. I think it's so beautiful, and I think there's anybody out there that needs a life coach,
hit me up.
you know how to go to Anxious Attachment Girl is right there.
Right.
But let's go back to your content creation, because 12 years old seems really young to start.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Were your parents like?
And I had a question about that too, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think that it was easier or harder being ahead of the curve? And what was like one of the things that was
question.
good about it and one of the things that was bad about it?
That's such a great question. Was it easier or harder? I think it was in some ways, I think easier, in some ways harder. Kind of like what we were talking about before the show. I think one of the ways that it was harder is that being like a social media influencer, content creator, did not exist at
Why
that
do you want
time.
to do it, I guess? Because I think that is kind of what I'm saying is right now people want to be content creators because it's a job and you make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So 90% of us, right? Like we're part of that.
Yeah.
We're like, you can make a lot of money.
Totally.
You, again,
there
being ahead
wasn't
of,
a proof
you
of
being ahead of the
concept,
curve, like what made you be like, this is fun. I want to do this.
Literally the love of the game. Like I just loved watching like different YouTubers. That's like my main platform. That's where I started. That's where I'll always live mostly. But I just loved watching other like beauty and fashion and, vlogs and all that stuff from all these other YouTubers. And I was literally just a little girl and I was like, I want to try it. And so I didn't even know at that time, like, that you could even make money from it because, that wasn't something that was really advertised.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't find out until, like, I don't know, I started in 2011 and I would say in, like, 2014 is when I was like, wait, what's Google AdSense? Like, maybe I should look into that. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is so cool. Like, they could put ads on my videos and I can make a little bit of money. Sick. Like, I was like 14. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And then I had a brand reach out to me in, like, 2015, and that was like my first brand deal, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, I thought it was like strange that I was making money.
What was that like?
Oh my God, it was like mind blowing. Cause also, like, I was thinking about this too, just the other day. Like, right now it's so much easier to build like an audience with like platforms like TikTok and like short form content and everything. Like, I feel like when people grow now, they grow really rapidly. That was not the case for me or for a lot of people that started in the space at that time. It was like I had an extremely like just, I don't know if I would say slow, I would say pretty like normal growth. Mm-hmm. Like, it took me like, a decade to get to where I am, but I am so happy that it worked out that way because like the people that watch my content and like my content, like they've been through me, like they've been with me through it all, like for years. And I remember like, speaking about, I think you almost mentioned like my parents, and because they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, like at this age,
must be so foreign to them.
Yeah, so I completely kept it a secret from them at first because I was, my dad was like stranger danger, like on the internet,
classic,
naturally, and I kept it a secret. And then when I hit, which is so crazy now, but when I hit 200 subscribers, I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I'm so famous. It's time to tell them.
That's
like
so
I was
awesome.
Like, yeah,
that is so
like,
awesome.
I was
so
like,
genuine.
Yeah, I was so young, naive. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
But also, 200 people is a lot of people. Like if you put 200 people in this room, you'd be like, holy shit, it's like cramped in here. So like,
no,
yes,
literally. I was like, oh my God, 200 people on YouTube. This is crazy. So I went to my dad and I was like, it's happening. Like, like, but my dad also like, they didn't know. So my dad was like, oh my God, it's happening. Like, so we were all like, what is happening? I don't know.
I just need to say for context, like you have 750,000 on subscribers
So
on
right
YouTube
now,
right now, so just so you know.
Yeah.
What were you doing? So you said makeup.
Yeah, I was doing like, makeup and fashion videos. And like I said, I was like 12, 13 years
Just
old.
having
I didn't
fun.
know what the hell I was doing.
Have you seen the documentary with Alex Cooper?
No.
The Call Her Daddy documentary.
No, I didn't watch that yet.
Oh, so
which is crazy because I'm a
you're
big
gonna be
documentary
so
person.
relatable to it because it was her when she was 10
Really?
doing all the things that she ended up doing. And it
Yeah.
was crazy that she had the content. I'll ask you a deep question.
Listening.
Okay, so big worry of mine. So I'm 35. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit like, I lived in both worlds.
Yeah.
Pre-technology, technology.
Totally.
The way the world's going, I feel like a lot of young people don't know how to interact. They don't have social skills. And it's a big, I think, epidemic that's going to happen in the future of like
Oh, absolutely.
communication, jobs,
Yeah.
relationships.
Those parasocial relationships.
Do you
Yeah.
think that being in that space had a social impact on you in a positive or negative way, like being digital first?
I mean, it had its like pros and cons, definitely. I think, That's a great question. I don't know how to like put it. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a person that like I think like social anxiety is like scared of me. Like I'm very extroverted.
You seem it.
But you know what? It's very interesting because I do find nowadays with social media, I don't know if it's because of like the overexposure of it and people are sharing like just so much online like now in like large quantities. But for me, I feel like starting really young on the internet gave me like such thick skin, and I think that's why I'm so like social anxiety fears me, like because growing up, like, you know, I started at a young age and like I was very, you know, like I guess susceptible to judgment and all of these things. But I think just like powering through all that, and I went through like all this like bullying when I was younger, and you know, and it kind of got me to like, not that it got me to where I am, but you know, it just made me have like really like thick skin. And so now I am, you know, for me personally, I think social media helped me be a very extroverted person. But yeah, I do see the reverse. And I think it's like a lot of people, it's like very extreme right now with like the social anxiety with like, you know, younger kids where because of social media too, where they either like don't want to show themselves at all. They're afraid, you know, they're afraid of judgment because, you know, there's people commenting on every single little thing now and, you know, whatever. Or the opposite. People see like everybody sharing everything and they just want to be like part of the curve.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it is both extremes because you have these 18-year-old kids that are more confident than anyone I've ever seen. And they're singing on, you know, the computer in front of millions of people. And then the other side of it is you look an 18-year-old kid in the face and they're just like...
Well, people struggle to be able to connect. So what do you, like, as someone who has shared so much of their life since 12 years old, what thing is the hardest for you to share online?
What is the hardest for me to share? I don't know. I mean, it's less of like what's very hard for me to share online and more of what do I like look back at and not necessarily regret sharing, but something I actually like recently was like, oh my God, was when I mentioned before we started recording, I was living in Europe like a few months ago. And at that time I was dating somebody who lived in New York, and like the relationship was a shit show. But because I was vlogging every single day while I was there, I was like just sharing parts of the relationship, like the good, the bad, the ugly, like everything. Cause that's just like what I'm used to with my vlogging is sharing like everything. There's not much I won't share. But I only recently started getting around to like really editing all of the content and starting to upload it. And even yesterday I uploaded a video that I had to rewatch myself, like sit there and just make like excuse after excuse for like this guy that was basically giving me nothing. And I ended up going into the video and making like a real time like photo booth update to be like, I do not want you guys to watch this video and think that this is who I am like right now, because watching this, it's making me cringe. Like it's a different level of me. And like, do I it's not a thing of like, I don't wish I shared it, because I want people to see that even though I'm like a life coach and everything, like I do not have it all together. Nobody does. Like be lying to your face if they do, you know? So it's like, I want them to be able to see those things, but it's like a very like bittersweet thing of like, like I want them to see this because I want it to be very open and vulnerable and like raw, but at the same time, I hate watching it because it's so not me. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think it's like, it's so interesting. Another thing that people don't really think about is like the fact that you have to reflect and process watching yourself in a time that is no longer you to then put out to people. Yeah. Like it's such an interesting circle.
Yeah. Totally. And do you think that some people in your life, friends or partners or people you're dating are like, I don't know if I actually want to be fully open with Christina because maybe she's going to share it, or I want to be more open because I want her to share it.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? I don't know if it's necessarily a thing of they want to share, they don't want to share because they're like afraid of like me sharing it. But I have had partners in the past to like raise concerns over how open I am with my life, and that's just something that maybe doesn't work for them, you know, because they're like, I don't want to date a girl whose business is all over the internet, and you know, that's perfectly fine. It's not for everybody, but I'm also extremely respectful in the way of like anybody that I do date that I start to get like, you know, a little more serious with. Like, first of all, I don't like share them on social media right off the bat. Like, you know, I'll take a while and like ease them into it. Also, like, I'm never gonna share anybody's like business that doesn't want it shared. And like, that's like, you know, a thing. Like, I used to date guys and they used to make jokes if they knew about my podcast, and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna share this on the podcast?" And I'd be like, "Well, maybe if you do something really shitty, like, you know,
but shithead, and I won't." Like,
but like, also, like, I'm never gonna like share your name, or like, I'm not gonna like dox you or anything.
Do you
like,
ever
I
get,
don't know. Like,
all right,
you know?
so pre-social media days, girls talk, right?
Of course.
Guys know girls talk.
yes, we do.
Yeah.
Have you ever had situations where maybe someone didn't perform, or there was an awkward moment and the guy's like, fuck, this may be shared? Did those stories get talked about on the podcast? Like, hey, I had a date last weekend. Did not go so well when we got back home.
Oh, absolutely. But everybody on our show gets a nickname. We will never use real names. We'll never use details. Everybody has a nickname. And my, like, you know, kind of ethos with it is just if you don't want something getting shared, like, just don't be a shitty person. But if it's like something that they do that's like a total like accident, or like, you know, like something like funny happened in the bedroom or whatever, like, you know, and they come to me in a very genuine way and they're like, don't share that, I'm not going
That's
to.
nice.
Like,
But
I'm
yeah,
not
I
like
can just
some
imagine,
like, you know.
like in today's world,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, I know this person's got a big platform. Hopefully,
Yeah,
What
no.
was that app that was it called T?
yeah, the
You know
Tia.
what I'm
Yes,
talking about?
of
When
course.
I saw that come in, I was like, oh fuck, there are a bunch of people quaking in their boots right now.
Oh my gosh,
Like, can you
absolutely.
imagine?
Yeah.
Wait, so tell us more about the podcast. What's it like? It's called Gin and Toxic.
Yes.
What's it about?
So, oh my God,
I know
would
what it's
say-
about. Joe doesn't know what it's about. So
Yeah.
it's for him.
I
So-
assume gin is involved.
Yes, of course. No, but yeah, obviously a play on gin and tonic. And yeah, I would say when we first started the show, it was a lot more dating and relationships and sex. And now it's kind of just classified as like a raunchy comedy. It's literally just kind of a entertainment podcast. It's just me and my best friend Lily, like, just talking about our lives, just like in our mid-20s, navigating who we're dating, who we're not, and also talking about random topics. Like, I don't even know. Like, the show has changed so much over time, but it almost has just become like a diary, like a digital diary of our lives, and that we just happen to share with people. And I don't know, the girlies eat it up. Even the guys, they love it too. Like, we have a lot of male listeners too. So it's changed a lot over time. And like, you know, some episodes we're just talking about like, you know, guys we went on dates with and like shitty experiences or like whatever. And then some episodes are talking about like friends, or, you know, that we're having like a career crisis, or it's just kind of like the embodiment of like the girl going through her quarter life crisis.
I love that. I think that's probably why it's so successful, is because it's like, it's you and your best friend. And I think there's no better person to do a podcast with than your best friend.
Of course.
Or your husband.
Right.
And the fact that you're talking about, it's not like a set thing, it's you're talking about life. You're talking about what you deal with on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. And I think that's why people connect with it so much, both men and women.
No,
What's
absolutely.
the mid-20s?
Yeah,
Girlies living in New York.
mostly. Yeah.
What kind of guys do you guys find attractive? Is it like 30s? Is it people your own age?
Oh my
Is it a
God.
finance guy? Because we were talking the other day.
yeah.
So Hannah made a joke. She's, because we just moved back from LA.
Okay.
And she's like, man, these finance guys all dress the same. Do they realize they all look and talk and dress
Oh my
the
God,
same?
yeah.
And I was
look
like,
identical.
wow, I never
White
thought
shirt,
that.
Patagonia vest, navy pants.
And I was one of them, to be fair. So
He was at one point.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this has changed so much just over time for me. I love to say that like I quote unquote don't have a type, but like if I'm narrowing it down to like physical, like I love like mustache, tattoos, looks like he's in his 40s, could potentially be a dad. Like that's like hairy. Like I love hairy men. Like, you know,
so like Shane Gillis kind of? No, Shane Gillis isn't tatted up.
Shane Gillis is no.
Like
no, he's
who's
not.
like a good like celebrity example of this? I don't even know. Like, oh my God, there's so many of them. But
I love a hairy dude too. I don't know what it is.
You know what? I think for me, it stemmed from, this is like crazy, but this is my theory always for me personally, was my longest relationship that I was in. My boyfriend had like a baby face, like barely grew any hair, and like it was cool. I was into it at the time. But I think after that, I just like had a total 180 and like my perception of like man changed. And now I'm like, I need a man that's like, hairy, just hairy.
Well, it's like so interesting. And this is like absolutely no shade to any men out there who struggle to be hairy, right? But I think there's something like very inherently manly about hair.
Yeah.
Like about a beard and about chest hair. Like it's
absolutely.
Yeah, so I feel you on
that. It's so like it like depends. But like, yeah, I mean, honestly, every single one of my exes look completely different from the next. Like 100% different. Yeah.
Me too. Like polar opposites.
Yeah.
Literally every which way you turn.
Yeah, exactly. Complete opposites. But nowadays I find myself, like I said, going for like, the last guy I dated was a year younger than me, and like, it was fine, but I definitely think I prefer my age or older, usually older. But I also am a big believer. I've dated younger, I've dated older, and I really think, maybe like hot take, it does not matter, because I've like dated men in like their early 30s that act like 17-year-olds, and then I've also dated men that are like 24 that act like they're like 40. Like, you know, I really don't think it matters.
One thing I will say, I mean, granted, I haven't dated any 20-year-olds recently, but I have been. We were having this conversation last week where I was talking to our CMO Vicky about it, and it's so interesting that like this younger generation of men seems to be more mature.
Absolutely.
And emotionally intelligent.
Yep.
Than generations, no offense, babe, generations past, you know what I mean? Excluding you, correct?
Of course.
But it's so interesting to me, and I think that's why even more so it plays to that fact of like, these 40-year-olds sometimes are acting like 17-year-olds, and then you have these 25-year-olds who are incredibly emotionally mature for their age, or for what we standardize as for men. Yeah. And it's just so fascinating to me.
No, absolutely. And that's, you know, I think a lot of that goes into, I mean, like, you know, you look at Gen Z and it's like very much like everyone's like very, you know, progressive, talk about your feelings, explain things, you know, all those things. And, you know, a lot of women are obviously sick of men that like will not share how they're feeling and, you know, and what's actually going on. And, you know, like the avoidant man is like the death of them. And so it's, you know, like a whole thing. So yeah, like for example, like I said, I dated a 24-year-old, and he was like, you know, some aspects very mature, other aspects maybe not so much, but for the most part was like pretty like really good with like expressing like how he felt about like certain situations and everything. And then like, yeah, like I said, some of like the guys I've dated that are like 33, 34, like cannot like get the words I feel out of their mouths. Like it's literally like, you know, it does not matter. But yeah, I don't know. I think about this all the time. I'm like, I definitely have a type, but at the same time, I feel like I never actually dated.
I have a question for you. So this used to happen when we would run the dating app. So many people would come up to me and be like, hey, can you help me find a partner?
Yeah.
And I would like just amuse them for 5 minutes. And then I would be like, do you actually want a partner? And then I remember this one time this girl was like, well, like if he lets me do my thing, I can go out on the weekends and, you know, he doesn't bother me, then yeah, I want a partner. So I was like, so you don't want a partner? And she was like, not really. And I was like, okay. Do you at this stage in your life want a partner, or are you kind of open to it, whatever happens, or are you looking? Yeah,
I'm not looking. I mean, my theory right now is like, right now I'm very content with where I am, and you know, it would be lovely to like have somebody along, you know, side me, but I'm not actively looking for it. It's just if I happen, you know, I'm like going on dates and meeting people, and if I happen to stumble across like a guy that's like really great and I want to see where it goes, and I'm not gonna like stop myself because I'm like, no, I can't be in a relationship or whatever, you know. But yeah, at the same time, like I'm very content right now not having a relationship.
Are you having fun dating?
Were you gonna share what you were gonna share before the podcast? That you have this new status.
What, that I'm single?
No, that you said, I don't know if you want to share it. We can cut it out if you don't. That you are not having casual sex anymore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. No, we can absolutely talk about it. Yeah. So that is my new realization about myself.
Why?
I think, So I think that I, for so long, really wanted to be the casual sex girl. I am like such a relationship person to my core. Like I really am. I thrive like in relationships versus, I mean, I thrive in either aspect, but like, I just like, I'm meant for like, I want my man. So, that's how I've always been. But, with that, I find that whenever I started really thinking about this, because I was like, in the times that I have gotten out of relationships and I've been single and I've tried the casual sex thing, it never turns out being casual for me. And I think the first time it actually really like started clicking was, after I got out of my most recent relationship, I was like, you know what? Like, I really don't want to date. I don't want a relationship, blah, blah, blah. I was like very hard about it. And I was like, but girls got to get some. So I was like, so I found a guy and, who, this guy that was like a friend of a friend and he's great, but we hooked up twice. And I found like immediately after that, I knew we went on like one date, hooked up, went over to his place again, like a week later, hooked up. And off of the first meeting, like I knew, like I went into it being like you're not gonna like this guy, you're not gonna like this guy, blah, blah, blah. We leave and he must have told me like a million reasons why he was emotionally unavailable and could not be in a relationship and doesn't want to be in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. And I told him a million reasons why I couldn't be. And then I still found myself like after like the second hookup being like, but I want to be with him and blah, blah, blah. I could fix him. And then that was where like I had to have like a serious conversation with myself and be like, this is a trap. like
You're
for me,
setting yourself up for disappointment.
I do think, like some of my best friends, like they go the casual sex route and they could do it all day long and they will never get emotionally attached. And that's just how it is. I just like, for me, I think as I got older, sex just turned into something that was more sacred for me. And I find myself just like, anytime I've had casual sex, like I don't like it. Like I need to be able to connect with someone to even enjoy it. And, it's just something that turned a little bit more into like a burden. I don't know. I guess like a burden for me than it became just a lot more like emotionally like stressful after the fact than it did,
fulfilling
just like
sexually in any way.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like kind of that. So then I ended up having a conversation with my life coach, who was the one that bluntly put it like that for me. She was like, can I throw something at you and like let me know where it lands? And she said it. She was like, I just don't think you're capable of casual sex. And immediately when she said it, I was like, I've never had anybody so bluntly say that to me, but you're absolutely right. Because then I started thinking about all of these times that I've tried to in the past and this and that. And I was like, wow, it was never actually casual for me. It never was. And then that's when I decided I'm just going to like make this change. And like, I just, like, I don't know. I need to be able to connect with someone first. And that's just where I ended up.
Wait, so in that vein, to end the I think this is a perfect way to end the podcast, right? So I know that no advice can be blanket advice, right? So like everything is kind of tailored towards everybody. Mm-hmm. But if you were to give one piece of blunt advice to our listeners about any area of life, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's great. This is a big one. I'm trying to think because I think about like what I tell my clients, and there's a lot of things. One thing that I do find myself telling a lot of my clients a lot is that they need to, or I guess people listening to this, you need to remind yourself that you can always change your mind. I think people think that when they make decisions, they're a lot more like set in stone and definitive than they actually are, whether that be career, dating, whatever the case is. And, I just think so many people think when they make these decisions that they could be so finite. And I try to remind them, I'm like, you could decide, like in the case of, tying it back to the last conversation with the casual sex, like one day you could be like, oh, I'm totally fine with the casual sex. I could do that, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day you could be like, never mind, that's actually not for me. And that's completely okay. Like, you're fully allowed to change your mind, and no decision that you make is actually so definite. There are ways to, change whatever you want about it.
I have one question before you leave, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do it?
You can more than
So the life coach thing, I love it, right? Like, my whole life, I listened to motivational speakers, and like they really helped me want more out of life.
Yeah.
Outside of your life coach, who is your biggest cheerleader in life?
Oh, probably. Because I'm like, the two people immediately come to mind, which is my best friend Lily, which does my podcast with me. She has been like my best friend through thick and thin, like since college, and she will like never think that an idea that I have is like ever so like outlandish or stupid or anything of that like sort. She's always been so supportive, but on a bit, more of, I guess not a deeper level, because the answer is going to sound pretty just like basic, but like it would probably be my dad, because my dad I'm just like both of my parents, but my dad especially has just been like, once again, kind of the same thing like I said about Lily. He's never thought that like any idea I had was just like so stupid or, whatever. And he's always like been very open to any idea I throw at him. He has helped me since I was 12 years old film YouTube videos, taught me how to edit things, take me to, like networking events when I was 15, like for YouTube, even with the podcast, even though it's definitely, like a raunchy podcast and everything, he helped build our first studio. Like, he's really just that. Like, he's such like, I have a brother, but I know my dad is like a girl dad to his core. And he just like supports me like in anything I do. And he's always been like, if you see the vision, I see the vision.
Glad I asked. Yeah. And I want to leave this with all the parents. Let your kids have an imagination. Like, let them think big and don't stunt that, because then you could end up like Christina.
Right.
Fabulous. Christina, darling, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's so much fun. These hours always fly by. Can you let our listeners know where to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. My username is at BeautyChickie on everything ever. So just Beauty Chick, EE. And then you can find my podcast at Gin Toxic Podcast, and my life coaching you can find from my social media, but it's ChristinaHarrisLifeCoach.com.
Beautiful. My darling, would you like to
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe. It helps us go a long way. Check out one of our past episodes. Happy connecting. We'll see you next time.